Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom and I have just witnessed the East Anglian Derby. Ipswich 1, Norwich City 1. So I just looked back, 5 of the last 7, if you go back to the 2 playoff games, 5 of the last 7 of these games have been draws, all 1-1 draws as well. I think I need to check that. But my pulse rate's down. Whatever we say about the detail of this game, it's just not fun to watch at all. My God. Ipswich line up. Big call by Paul Hurst. He drops Bartosz Białkowski and Dean Gherkin comes in. So 3 times Player of the Year, Białkowski. Had a bad start to the season. Out he goes and Gherkin comes in. Whatever you say about Hurst, he's definitely got some balls to want to do that. Now, there was an issue with the loan players. So out goes Donacien and in comes Spence, probably purely to satisfy this loan quota. Pennington is with Chambers, new guy Pennington at centre-half, given that Nsiala is serving the first of his 3-game ban. Knudsen, left back. Nolan moves back into the 2 kind of deeper central midfield positions with Skuse. I think that's I know we've seen a 4-1-4-1, but it's the first time we've seen him quite back that far. Jordan Graham, he's new. He comes in on the left-hand side of the 3. John Walters in the 10 position and Gwen Edwards down the right with Caden Jackson up front. So massive changes. It's still very clear that this team is far away from being settled. Gherkin, Spence, Pennington, Graham, Walters. I don't know how many changes that even was, either 5 or 6. Norwich, Krulling goal. Let me get my picture. Aaron's right back, Henley and Closer centre backs, Lewis left back. Tetty and Leitner sat in front of the back 4. Buendia down the right, Pookie in the 10 position, Hernandez down the left, and Jordan Rhodes up front. The game starts. Ipswich get a free kick within about 40 seconds. Jordan Graham curls that one well wide. Pretty poor effort. Norwich with their first set play on 13. Leitner puts that one in right-footed. Closer gets above Gherkin. It's one of those ones where if you even half header it, it just drops down into the goal. He heads it over. Good chance. Edwards, nice deep cross to Nolan. Touch and shot gets blocked on the left foot for Nolan. On 21, rehearsed corner. Skuse is totally free in the box, but he loops the header over the bar. The first quarter of this game was not good. That is the sum total of what happened. Very tense, very nervy, not a lot of quality. Chambers takes the yellow on Rhodes, kind of bashes into him as the ball's going forward. Leitner puts it across. Closer wins it again at the back post, but heads wide. Pookie to Buendia. Oh, how do you say his name? Buendia, whatever. Tetty lines up the right footer. Buendia, sorry. He gets a good contact on this, right-footed. Hits it hard, but flies wide. On 36, lovely ball forward by Leitner. Pookie's away down the left. He cuts in on his right foot. He's into the box. He shoots for the near post. I was up the other end, I believe. He hits the outside of the post. And in this period now, this is the first time one of the 2 teams kind of take the game a little bit. Norwich are on top here. Big ball forward, though, however, on 39, falls to Walters. And out of nowhere, he smacks it. Right-footed, really good contact. It's swerving away from Krulling goal. Hits the post. Out it goes for a throw-in. Unlucky there. Both sides hit the post there. Clever corner here on 41. Edwards short into Nolan. Graham gets control and so silly here. He dives in the box. I think when he receives it, he thinks there's too many people to shoot through and he's gonna play for the penalty. But takes a yellow card for that silly boy there, Jordan Graham. Now on 45, I don't know what happened here. Big melee in the corner. Skuse goes down. On first instance, it looked like one of these ones where a clever pro, especially someone like Skuse, feigns a head injury and stops another attack happening. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Buggy, stretcher, strapped up. So don't know what's happened to Skuse. I hope he's okay, but they were taking every precaution they could with him. Their attendance goes up 25,690. I know the Norwich fans jeered that, but from an Ipswich fan's point of view, it's good. It's progress. People wanted to come to the game today. They turned out in good numbers. I'm sure our stat guy on the podcast, Renegade Statman, will let me know. Last time we drew that sort of attendance for a league game, but Norwich fans can jeer all they like. That's an encouraging attendance. It shows that the support is there if something down at that ground is happening that people can get behind. Walters bustles, wins a free kick, Graham right-footed. Similar position to the one he got in the first minute. It's a good line, but Closer's in the wall and he's tall and he flips his head at it. Over it goes. The corner goes in, Chambers heads wide. Let's make no bones about it. That first half was rubbish, wasn't it? It was really poor. I think we just put it down to tension, which causes lack of quality on the ball, which causes kind of lack of ambition in people's play, people getting a bit jittery. Norwich had a good little spell from 27 to 37, but they then dropped back a bit after Walters hit the post for Ipswich. So not good. Not good the first half at all, and not surprising, 0-0. Is the score there. Should mention, obviously, Norwich did hit the post as well. Godfrey comes into Closer. Closer had gone down in the middle of the first half, clutching his knee, and then got up and run it off. But no good there. The interesting link, Paul Hurst. Godfrey played as a midfielder for Hurst, but Norwich seemed to be using him as a centre-back. Ipswich start the second half much better, and this is their best spell in the game. Graham with a corner falls to Chalobah on the back corner of the box, slashes at the volley, right-footed half volley, over it goes. Godfrey takes a yellow, hefty one on Nolan. Free kick and then a corner. Chalobah's blocked out in their 6-yard box. Norwich making the blocks there. Good work from Ipswich here. 53, big diagonal by Pennington. Walters into the channel. He lobs it up in the air. It's actually a good ball. He hits it so early. It's a difficult one for Jackson to get anything on. He directs the header at goal, but Krill gathers easily. And Ipswich's good start to the second half. Finally, 56 minutes, they get the goal that probably their endeavour from the start of the second half deserves. Corner in from the left. It's headed out, and Chalobah, he's not the best decision maker, but he makes a good decision here not to go back down the line. Keeps the corner alive, gives it to Nolan. Now, Nolan's good here. He spots Walters on his own, puts it into Walters, who's in a one-on-one rather than into the crowd. Goes back out to Edwards, who hits the right footer, and I haven't seen a replay of this. This must take a deflection because it seems to completely change direction and speed. And in it goes to the far corner. So Ipswich have the lead 1-0 on 56 minutes. Can they hold out 34 minutes? They scored on 89 and didn't hold out in the last game against Norwich. So hey-ho, here was the chance to make it 2-0 though on 60. Breakaway, Edwards has got it. He's sort of in the 10 position quite centrally. Don't know who it is. Makes a great run ahead of him to the right. So it opens up for Edwards. If he has a left foot here, he's going to go back the other way. He has to hit it with his instep and try and find the side net in right-footed. Not a big enough area to hit there, and it goes just wide. Krill knew what he was doing, or what Edwards was doing, I think, there. And yeah, that was a chance there for 2-0. Edwards then has a free kick that goes just wide. And Farker makes his first change. Louis Thompson comes in for Buendia, who disappointed me. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Didn't get into the game at all down the right for Norwich. Someone who did get in the game, though, was Timu Pukki, who looks a good player. He drives again to Rhodes, to Hernandez. Teti shoots. I think Gherkin must be missighted here because he ends up saving it in a very unorthodox way, flipping his left hand out at it and kind of pushing it away. Thank God for Paul Hurst's sake making that big change that he didn't spill that one into the corner of the goal. Hanley's up for the corner. Good header. Knudsen, important block there. He's only 2 yards out, blocks that away. Next one, Teti overheads it back in. Hanley's completely free, about 6 yards out. Hooks his right foot at it, puts it over. Should have scored for 1-1 there. Hanley. Bit of fisticuffs in the technical area here. Ellis Harrison and Max Aaron squaring up to each other. Don't know what was going on there. That was on 69 minutes, and on 70 minutes, so Ipswich only held out for a sort of 14, 15 minutes. Norwich get the equaliser that they always seem to. Set play here is kept alive by Hernandez. And this is probably the one bit of quality in the game that we saw from all 22 players. Hernandez, he's one-on-one with Nolan. John Nolan is an attacking centre midfielder. And Hernandez leaves him for dead. He gets behind him. Crosses. The first cross, I think, either is notched out by an Ipswich player or kind of comes off a Norwich player. It falls to Leitner. I think he has a touch. He's got one chance, one space to hit this left foot. And in it goes, sweeps it into the far corner, finds the side netting through the crowd. Gherkin can't get down to it. It's a good finish by Leitner, and it's 1-1. 76, Knudsen, long throw, well cleared by Norwich, back in by Pennington. He heads it back in. Norwich push out, but Walters is onside. He just can't turn and spin. Older watchers of this blog, Ian Rush used to score these goals all the time, where he just spin and hit it. Walters can't turn as quickly as Ian Rush used to, let's just say. And Norwich get around him and stop that opportunity. Sabrani comes in for Rhodes. Well played, Chambers and Pennington on Rhodes. That was a narrative that we didn't want, and it didn't happen. Ward comes in for Graham. Harrison in for Jackson. So change of threat there for Ipswich up front. Ward kind of waste a free kick in terms of getting into the box here. Daisy cutter there. There's a long throw in. It goes loose. I think it's Harrison. We're into stoppage time now. And the ball flies wide, right-footed there. So the game ends 1-1. We said on the Talk Norwich City show I did with Jack Reeve, that's kind of the result that doesn't really do that much for anybody. If Ipswich win, they break the long run of not beating Norwich and, you know, get that first win. They haven't done that. If Norwich get the win, maybe it kickstarts their season going into the international breaks and it proves the Farker doubters wrong. Neither of those things happened. And like I mentioned at the start of the vlog, it seems like these games are just kind of deteriorating into who's, you know, least wants to lose, basically. And the attitude of the teams, I genuinely think since 2014-15, where Norwich had a really good team, I think you kind of just say that the two teams haven't really been amazingly good since that season. So the draw, I mean, let's talk about Norwich first. Obviously, from when we saw them last, you have the Maddison factor. They look weaker in goal. Krul doesn't look as good as Ruddy. Hanley and Closer look a good Championship centre-half partnership, and they look good today. Lewis is good, and Aarons was okay. In terms of Norwich, the two standout players really were Pukki and Hernandez. Hernandez for his quality for the goal. When you do have wing players like that, it only really needs that one instance where they create the goal and for them to do their other jobs during the game, and they're fine. They don't need to be making 9 dribbles per game as long as the one dribble they do makes a goal. Pukki was good. He looks a scruffy chap. He's an interesting looking footballer, but I like the way he drove forward with the ball in that central position. But Rhodes was quiet and well marshalled, obviously, by Chambers and Pennington at the back. But Norwich look as weak as I've seen them now for a long time. I'm not gloating, or it doesn't give me any pleasure to say that. And I understand Ipswich still didn't beat them. But I feel now, other than Hernandez, really in terms of great quality, they're in the lowest spot that they've been player-wise since they came down from the Premier League when Alex Neil was last there. In terms of Ipswich, this is very odd now, because if you're looking for a line of progress from Hurst, there was one before today, in that he tried this and he tried that, and you thought he was getting closer and closer and closer. it just feels a little bit like since the transfer window that line has just gone kind of, all over the place, and he's sort of ripped it up and started over. A lot of players who are expected to be in today, people like Chalobah, Aiden, Harrison, Białkowski, particularly the biggest call, not there. And Ipswich weren't great today. What they did show today that they haven't shown in other games is a little bit of wiliness and toughness. And that was brought to them by John Walters, a 34-year-old running around. And I have to say a bit by Jordan Spence, who, defended in his game management was good. And it seems clear that they were missing a little bit of championship experience there. Gherkin was fine, couldn't do too much for the goal. It's going to be very, very interesting after the next 2 weeks of training to see who starts the next game. Knudsen was fine. Chambers played well on a yellow card for a lot of the game. Pennington was good, but I now don't know what happens when Nsiala comes back, who plays with Chambers. We will see. Spence, despite having a pretty good performance today, I would expect also not to be the guy going forward. Nolan dropped into the deeper midfield position, and now they've lost Skews. Don't know what's going to happen there. Walters brought wiliness, game management, and a little bit of up and at 'em and a little bit of presence. I thought he was effective, despite not actually having too much quality on the ball. His qualities were definitely in leadership and responsibility. Edwards still, to me, is the one Ipswich player that works. I know his goal was lucky-ish today, but he is a danger, and he's the one part of this Hurst team where a player's come in and you're like, okay, right side, up the front, we're looking good. Graham, so-so and pretty poor on set plays. And Jackson against Hanley and Closer was a bit of a mismatch, really. Jackson ran, but no change out of those two. They're good championship defenders. So I hate to say it, but it does still look a bit of a muddle. And I thought we were working towards something the first month, despite not winning. And now I'm unsure again. I don't know what's going to happen the next few games. So in the bigger picture, very interested to see what happens. I hope they can sort out Donasian's loan status work permit business so we can use the 5 loan players and don't have to be leaving the likes of Teo Eden out on loan and Donasian. For those reasons, that would seem a bit of a muddly situation to be in. In terms of what I saw on the pitch, I'm just pleased not to lose today. As you can see, I've come to the game and I'm a little bit none the wiser. I feel I knew less leaving the game than I did before the game. So it's going to be interesting. Thank goodness we don't have to do that again for a long while. I don't know when the next Norwich game is. I haven't looked. I'm sure it's in spring sometimes. They always seem to be roughly the same time. In terms of the rivalry, Norwich have won 2 out of the last 7. So I think we can now drop the word dominance. And I think we can say that, yes, Ipswich really need to beat Norwich. But these two teams aren't great. And I don't know how high the highest finisher is going to be finishing this season. So in terms of the rivalry, I don't think that's as important for both of the teams this season as getting their act together and, getting their projects going in the right direction. Lots to talk about. Let's try and be adult in the comments down here. Really eager to hear from you. Firstly, if you're a Norwich fan, what's the expectation now? Where's this season going? And does it go forward with Farke long term? It looks like you're weaker personnel-wise now. Hernandez looked great and Pukki looked good. So be interested in Norwich fans' thoughts on where this is all going. Ipswich fans, what's the next lineup going to look like? And has Hurst slightly ripped it up and started again now? What do you expect to see? Fair result on the whole. I think most people would probably agree. No one was really hard done to today. So get the debate going in the comments. Like I say, be nice to one another. Thumbs up, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. And 2 weeks off now, so we'll see you for the podcast. I'm going to have a cold shower and let my blood pressure drop. Goodbye, everybody.